stopped. The wind howled outside. Still no sign of my dad. We huddled closer together, fear creeping into our hearts. "What was that noise?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "I don't know," I said, trying to sound brave. "Maybe it was just an animal." But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. The sound had been too loud, too close. We strained to hear any sound over the wind, any sign of my dad's return. Then we heard it, whispering. It was coming from the woods, just beyond the reach of the lantern light. It was faint, almost impossible to hear over the wind, but it was definitely there. It sounded like multiple voices murmuring in hushed, urgent tones. We couldn't make out any words, but the tone was enough to send shivers down our spines. Terror gripped us. We were paralyzed. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the whispering stopped. The silence that followed was even more unnerving than the whispers. It was a heavy, oppressive silence, as if the entire forest were holding its breath. We stared at the door, waiting for my dad to burst through it and chase away the fear that had settled over us. But the door remained closed. We waited for what felt like hours, but it couldn't have been more than 20 minutes. Every creak of the cabin, every gust of wind against the windows sent our hearts racing. Finally, Mark spoke, his voice trembling. What if something happened to Dad? The thought hung in the air, heavy and cold. I tried to reassure him, to reassure myself, but the words wouldn't come. Then we heard it. Footsteps. The footsteps were slow, deliberate, heavy. They were coming from inside the cabin, from their back bedroom. We had been so focused on the woods outside, on the whispers and the strange disappearance of our dad, that we had forgotten about the rest of the cabin, the darkness that lived within its walls. Our eyes darted to the closed bedroom door, our breath caught in our throats. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then the doorknob slowly began to turn.